Tonight, game one of our doubleheader comes to you from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. The Los Angeles Dodgers are here to take on the Philadelphia Phillies. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Zabriskie along with Larry Sorensen. Welcome to game one of our doubleheader. Tonight, the Dodgers and the Phillies, each in last place in their respective divisions of the National League. Each of them may be starting to look toward next season. Then again, maybe not. The big question, I guess, Larry, is how the heck did they get in this mess?
All the players and coaches I talked to, two words kept popping up. For the Dodgers, it was defense. For the Phillies, it was injuries. I talked to Jim Fregosi and Tom Lasorda earlier today and asked them what they needed to do to turn their clubs around in the second half.
I'd like to see DeJesus and Tommy Green and Ashby back. That would help us turn us around, where we could throw somebody out there every day in a five-man rotation with guys that have a chance to win a game. Right now, those guys are not available. We're going to get some experience for some young pitchers here. We're going to have to live and die with those guys right now, and hopefully they can get themselves straightened out and get the confidence that it takes to pitch at this level.
We got our big guys back now. We're hoping the second half can be a reversal, that we can do much, much better. If we get those 23 one-run games again, I'm believing that we can win many of them now with Strawberry and Davis in the same lineup.
So the Dodgers seem to have overcome their injury problems, but Lasorda said, you know, catching the ball should be the easiest part of this game. I thought hitting and throwing it were the hard parts.
Well, sometimes that's the case. And, of course, the Phillies have had problems of their own. You think with the offense they've been able to produce, they would win, too. There's been more pitching woes than defense. And here is the lineup that their starter, Curt Schilling, will be facing tonight. The Dodger lineup, a little bit revamped at the top of late, and it seems to be working. Jose Offerman, the shortstop, is now leading off, and Brett Butler, the center fielder, is now batting second. Third baseman, all-star Mike Sharperson, hits third. The right fielder, Darryl Strawberry, is back, still not 100%, hitting fourth. Eric Davis, the brittle one, in left field, hitting fifth. Rookie first baseman Eric Karros bats sixth. Second baseman Lenny Harris bats seventh. Hitting eighth, the catcher tonight is Mike Scioscia. And on the mound and batting ninth for the Dodgers, Laurel Hershiser.
Doing the pitching for the Phillies this evening will be Curt Schilling. He's a hard thrower, has a slider and a curveball too, but look for the good fastball. Threw a shutout on ESPN a couple of weeks ago.
Well, he's been a workhorse. Look at that, 104 2/3 innings. Used both in relief and as a starter. And Jose Offerman stands in for the Dodgers, hitting .258, shortens up and takes low ball one. Offerman with no home runs and 16 RBIs. But he has excellent speed, and they like him at the top of the order. The strike makes it 1-1.
Steve, you mentioned the different jobs that Schilling has done for the Phillies. I really think that's the hardest job in baseball, to bounce around like that and try to fill those different roles and make your arm and your body adjust to what you have to do.
And he's done it well. Breaking ball, line to left field for a base hit. Ariano Duncan gets it back in, and Offerman leads off with a single. So the change of just 4 or 5 games ago continues to pay off for the Dodgers.
Breaking ball that hangs down the middle. Offerman just slaps it into left field. Brett Butler said that if Offerman gets on, the number 2 spot is a very good place for me to hit. He said the whole thing is key to Offerman getting on base.
And here is Brett, a left-handed hitter. Good bat control. He has a lot of bunt base hits, 23 this year. Hitting .279 with 1 homer, 21 RBIs, and he takes a strike. And that's what you want in that number 2 spot. Usually a left-handed hitter who can pull the ball behind the base runner at first, and a guy who can make contact, and certainly Butler fills that role well.
The other thing about Bugsy is that he's very willing to go deep in the count, take a lot of pitches.
And he lays down a bunt in front of the mound. Schilling will go to first to get him. And Offerman down to second now with 1 out.
Pretty good sign of the offensive woes the Dodgers have had when you've got the number 2 hitter in the ball game bunting immediately to try and get a runner to second base.
So that'll bring up Mike Sharperson, who is hitting .332, 3 homers, 29 RBIs. The Dodgers' lone representative in the All-Star game. And he's been a terror on the road this season. hitting .364 away from Dodger Stadium. Ball one.
Sure doesn't sound quite right to have a utility infielder being the Dodgers representative at the All-Star game, does it?
No, that shows you the woes that this franchise is going through after so many years of excellence. And the fastball is in there for a strike, 1-1.
Talk about those years of excellence since Tommy Lasorda has been in Los Angeles for 15 years. This is 16. They've won 6 divisional titles. They've won the National League 4 times, and they've won the World Series twice. So last place is a very foreign territory for him.
Breaking ball for a strike, 1-2. Schilling making his 12th start of the year, and with the starting and relieving, his ERA a respectable, better than respectable, 2.75. And as you said, Larry, that's not easy to do. 2-2.
People may ask why. What's the difference? You still have to go out there. Well, you gear yourself to go 9 innings, so you stretch your muscles out differently in your arm when you're going to be a starter. When you know you're going to pitch 1 inning or 2 innings, you're going to throw about 90% fastballs when you have the kind of fastball that Schilling does. Now he goes more to his breaking balls and his changeup occasionally.
And it's a full count to Sharperson with 1 out, and Jose Offerman at second.
It's difficult enough to go from the job of being a long reliever to sometimes being a short man, but when you throw in being a starter, it's another factor in the equation that makes it that much more difficult.
That's for sure. There is Darryl Strawberry on deck. 3-2. Foul back. Schilling came right after him with a high fastball. Another indication of the Dodgers' offensive woes is that the team notes are usually replete with what guys are hitting with runners in scoring position. Not the Dodger notes. Not a lot of mention of what guys are hitting with runners in scoring position. And they have one right there with Jose Offerman at second and 1 away.
Well, again, you have to allude to the fact that Darryl Strawberry missed the 2 months with his back problem, which he says may require surgery.
Another foul ball.
The defense behind Curt Schilling tonight includes Wes Chamberlain, who's always an adventure in right field. Lenny Dykstra is solid in center, and Mariano Duncan fills in left. Dave Hollins will be the third baseman. Rookie Joe Millette will be at short, with Mickey Morandini at second, John Kruk again at first, the All-Star, and Darren Dalton, the All-Star, behind home plate.
Another 3-2 pitch, and it's ball 4. Runners at first and second with 1 out. And Darryl Strawberry will stand in.
And the way things have gone the first half for the Dodgers, this is a big-time rally.
Strawberry still not 100%, but in the lineup and happy to be in the lineup. As you see, hitting .242, 5 homers, 22 RBIs, and a big cut, no contact.
Boy, he hit some amazing home runs in batting practice. I was doing my interview with Tom Lasorda, and we both stood there and watched, and he was going, holy cow, look at that one go, and one after another into the second deck here at the vet.
Well, Darrell's back has to be fairly good for him to do that. 1-1. Strawberry, one of those who really believes that if the Dodgers can keep their lineup intact, with the pitching that they can often produce, they really believe that they can get back in here and get the offense going. They've got to play better defense, though, no matter what they do. A strike at the knees, 1-2.
The Dodgers are second in the league in pitching, but they're last in team defense, and it's a fairly comfortable margin over the Phillies.
The Phillies with 80 errors, and the Dodgers have committed 87. Two and two.
You mentioned the revamped lineup. Butler usually leading off, and the switch to Offerman leading off Darryl Strawberry was very enthusiastic about it, and Butler was enthusiastic about it. He said whatever it takes to make this team win.
Strawberry fouls a fastball back. The count remains 2-2. Well, that's the kind of attitude you have to have. And Offerman has really good speed. Butler runs very well, but he's much more valuable, I think, as a number 2 hitter. Here's Offerman at second. Sharperson at first. Strawberry strikes out on the high cheese for out number 2.
Darrell's not a bad high fastball hitter, which is unusual for left-handers. This ball is in on him, though. You see how it got just above his belt line, got in about letter high, in close to his chest. That tied him up. Couldn't extend his arms, which is what he loves to do most.
And he asked home plate umpire Joe West if, in fact, it was a strike. 99 times out of 100, the umpire says, yes, it was.
Yeah, you swung at it. It's a strike.
Eric Davis, the hitter. And Davis takes high, ball 1. Eric hitting just .228. E2 with 5 homers and 27 RBIs. 1 home run in his last 158 at bats. 1-1.
Still having very bad troubles with his right shoulder, which he jammed on catching a fly ball, diving for a fly ball. And I noticed on SportsCenter last night, he made a throw in that took 2 hops to get to the third baseman. I think that was a real indication of exactly how much that shoulder is hurting him.
And don't you know the Phillies know that, saw that last night, and have the opportunity with a runner in scoring position to take advantage of it. 2 balls and 1 strike. Davis batting with runners at first and second and 2 out. We're in the top of the first inning, no score.
One thing Curt Schilling has done is you see Tommy Lasorda looking on. One thing that he has done very well is he's established the inside part of the plate to both the left-handers and the right-handers. Couple brushed Darrell back. Now he's taken Eric back a step and a half.
Ball 4. So the bases are loaded. A single and 2 walks in the inning. 2 out.
This pitch doesn't miss by too much, but it just sails, sinks a little bit out of the strike zone, down and in. You hope you get him to chase it.
That brought Darren Daulton out to the mound for a little conference with Schilling. And it'll bring up the Dodgers rookie first baseman Eric Karros, hitting .258, 10 homers, 33 driven in. Fastball right in there for strike 1.
That's got to be about as good a pitch as he's going to get this at bat.
Karros with those 10 home runs, and you can see hitting .571 with the bases loaded. Breaking ball, base hit by a diving Millette. Offerman scores, Sharperson scores, and Davis is safe at third. Karros goes down to second on the throw, and the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead here in the first inning.
The only pitch better to hit than a fastball down the middle is a hanging breaking ball down the middle, and that one never got below the belt. Well, that's a very good fielding shortstop, not too great with the bat. He had no chance to catch that ball. Lenny Dykstra's throw was a little bit late to second base. Johnny Padres wants to talk to Curt Schilling about it. Schilling had things set up pretty well his way, but he made a bad mistake with that slider.
Well, the other thing that all pitchers know you can't do, and that's walk people, because more often than not, they come around to score. Karros with a single. He goes to second on the throw, picks up 2 RBIs to give him 35 on the year. And the batter, Lenny Harris, with runners at second and third, 2 out. And Harris takes the ball. Lenny hitting .274, no homers, 14 RBIs. And that one caught the outside corner. 1-1.
That's where he wanted to throw the ball to Eric Karros.
A little lower in the strike zone, and one that's diving out of the strike zone, preferably.
Oops.
Yeah. Could I have that one back, please?
You know, sometimes you get about halfway through your delivery, and you know you're going to make a mistake, and you start saying, oh, no, I don't want to throw this.
Too late. Skied into short center. Dykstra right there, and the inning over. But 7 men come to the plate for the Dodgers. And on 2 hits and 2 walks, they score 2. Lead 2-0 after a half inning. 2 in their half of the first inning, and now we'll check out the lineup that the Phillies will throw out there here in the bottom of the first. Glenn Dykstra, semi-healthy, back in the lineup, leading off in center field. Mariano Duncan, the left fielder, bats second. Dave Hollins at third base, doing a good job batting third. The league's leading hitter, John Kruk, playing first base, batting fourth. Aaron Dalton, the catcher, hits fifth. Right fielder Wes Chamberlain, sixth. Mickey Morandini, the second baseman, batting seventh. Hitting eighth, the rookie shortstop, Joe Millette. And, of course, Kurt Schilling, the pitcher, bats ninth.
They'll be facing Orel Hershiser. In 9 years in the major leagues, Orel Hershiser has never had a losing record. This year he's 7-7. He's been pitching very well, though. Catcher Mike Scioscia says he's about 90 to 95% back to what he used to be. Defensively behind him, he'll have Darryl Strawberry once again in right field, with Brett Butler running him down in center, Eric Davis in left. Mike Sharperson is the third baseman, with Jose Offerman next to him at shortstop. Lenny Harris plays second base with Eric Karros, the rookie, at first, and Mike Scioscia again behind home plate.
Orel the fourth. His son Orel the fifth, nicknamed Quentin, as is often the case. And here is Len Dykstra, who nails one to right field on the first pitch for a base hit. So the Phillies come right back, get their leadoff hitter aboard.
Lenny Dykstra is always a very aggressive hitter. He decides the first pitch might be as good as he gets. It's right down the middle. He drills it into right field. Fergosi says he's getting back healthy, and Dennis Menke says he's really swinging the bat as well as anybody on the club now.
And he is at first with 15 stolen bases. Mariano Duncan, the hitter, hitting .280, 6 homers, 38 RBIs. And he'll throw to first. Nope, Hershiser just stepped off. Duncan leading the National League in doubles with 27. Takes low ball 1.
You talk about the injuries to the Phillies team, and what happened to Lenny Dykstra really kind of symbolized their club this year. Got hurt his first at bat, first inning of the first game.
And it's been all downhill since then. A portend of things to come for the Phillies, unfortunately. The first half fraught with injuries. A little bit low on the outside part of the plate. 2-0.
The 3 pitchers that Fergosi talked about wanting back were all injured by May 13th. So that was 3/5 of their starting rotation. When you plan all winter long, and those guys are a big part of your plans, that hurts.
And the Phillies have not had an overabundance of pitching anyway. They've had 21 different pitchers start games for them this year. There's Larry Boa, former Phillies shortstop and the third base coach. Pitchers on the roster, I should say. He's already 13 started. Ground ball could be 2. Offerman to Lenny Harris, and on to Karros for the double play. So Dykstra's leadoff single erased as rain has started to fall here at Veterans Stadium.
The defense doesn't look too shabby on this play, although the ball did come up on Offerman. He still got it off to Harris in plenty of time. Orel Hershiser will keep the ball in the infield. when he needs to double play. See that ball jumped up a little bit on turf, making the transition from a nice Dodger Stadium field to this is a little different, a little quicker here.
Yep. Here's Dave Hollins hitting .258. He has 11 homers and 42 RBIs. He has taken over the number 3 spot in the Phillies batting order. He has also started more games than any other Phillies player this year, 86. Hershiser making his 19th start of the year. Line drive caught by the third baseman Sharperson, and the inning is over. One hit with a double play erased that. Nobody left. After one, Philadelphia leading 2-0. Los Angeles leading 2-0. There's Bob Ojeda of the Dodgers pitching staff, and here's Bob Ojeda earlier watching the game and then realizing, hey, somebody gave me a hot foot. Gee, turnabout is fair play, Bobby O. He's been known to pass him around.
Boys will be boys.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when you're last place, it's a little easier to have fun than when you're fighting for the pennant.
True. Pressure's off. Mike Scioscia, the hitter, as the rain continues to fall here in Philadelphia, and the Dodgers lead it 2-0 as we go to the second.
Bob Ojeda better enjoy his Dodger teammates now. He's the subject of many a trade rumor for contending teams.
Yep. Left-handed pitching always at a premium. Scioscia hitting .218. 2 homers and 17 RBIs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fouls off a breaking ball, 1 and 2.
Steve, you and I have talked during different telecasts about it's time for clubs to start taking a look at guys and seeing what they've got in the minor leagues. For the Phillies, most of the players they would think about taking a look at have been here for a while. Some of them are already hurt.
Scioscia pops it up. It's going to be out of play behind the Dodger dugout.
You look at a Joe Millette at shortstop, and I tried to ask some players about him. They said, don't know a thing. Was in Reading, played a little while in AAA at Wilkes-Barre Scranton or whatever it is, and Scranton Wilkes-Barre. He's up here in the big leagues.
And he wasn't even in spring training. I asked Jim Fregosi about him before the game. He says, I don't know. I've only seen him the last couple of days.
Said Lee Elia tells us he can play.
He was not even in spring training. You see Scioscia's bandaged forearm. Good play going back. Dave Hollins, the third baseman, corrals the pop-up. 1 away. So Orel Hershiser will stand in. Here it is again.
Well, when you're bandaged up anyway and you get jammed like that, you feel that barking for a little while.
Baby. Orel swings a decent stick. He's hitting .205 this year. No homers, 3 RBIs. And he bounces one back up the middle. Over to get it is Joe Millette. And the rookie throws him out. 2 away.
You ask Larry Boa, the infield coach, does he go to his left? Does he go to his right? He said, I don't know. Looked like he went to his left pretty well there.
I'll tell you, it's been tough for the Phillies. Who's playing tonight? The lineup has also been one where you have guys come up to the big leagues so they can get hurt. They play in the minor leagues. Nothing happens to them. They bring them up to Philadelphia, and they get injured. Offerman singled and scored in the first inning, and he takes a strike. Jose, over his last 7 games coming into tonight, has hit .320. 1-1. 2 out, nobody on, and the Dodgers lead it 2-0 in the second. Foul back, 1 and 2.
Feeling this is going to be a pretty steady drizzle they're going to have to contend with for a while.
Yeah, the skies look quite dark. Swing and a miss, and the inning is over. So after sending 7 to the plate and scoring 2 in the first, the Dodgers go in order in the second, but they still lead by 2.
this summer.
Welcome back to Philadelphia. A bit humid and damp tonight. Dodgers leading the Phillies 2-0, and John Kruk to lead off the second inning. And a swing and a miss, strike one. Kruk hitting .346 to lead the National League. He has 8 homers and 45 RBIs. And the .346 average he's sporting right now is the lowest batting average he's had all year long. Goes after the high fastball and fouls it up. Out of play. And Sharperson right there at the tarp. As that ball came back a little bit. Almost had it, but it went off the end of his glove.
Anytime you get close to a wall, the idea and the object is to find the wall first, then find the ball. You need to get to the tarp, push yourself off of it, and come back to make that play.
Looked like that ball was going to be in about the second row. And maybe that's why Mike didn't go over there as hard as he should. So John Kruk with new life, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
You gotta love Kruk's attitude, though. I said to him, did you have a good time in San Diego? He said, are you kidding? We got our fannies kicked.
And he hits another rope. Strawberry over to cut it off. And Kruk with yet another base hit, leading off the second inning.
And what he meant was the Phillies' 3-game series with the Padres, not the All-Star game. He has been struggling with the bat a little bit lately. The breaking ball doesn't, and he lines it sharply into right center.
He's led the National League in hitting since April 22nd. There in Dalton, he's cooled off a little after being hot, hitting .269, 13 home runs and 59 RBIs, and a base hit to center field. Kruk will stop at second as Butler fires it in, and the Phillies have something going with runners at first and second and nobody out.
Dennis Menke said Dalton had been pressing and uppercutting a little bit, so they're working on him to hit down on the ball more, and that time he does it very well as he drives a single up the middle.
And more often than not, Hershiser with that heavy ball of his, you're going to hit it on the ground anyway. It's hard to lift.
Sinker, sinker, sinker.
Wes Chamberlain, the hitter. Chamberlain hitting .260, 6 homers, 22 driven in. Big things are expected from this young man. And he takes high and tight, ball 1. Chamberlain over the last 16 games is at .377. He's had 2 different seasons with Philadelphia this year. High fly into right field. Strawberry shading him over towards center. Makes the catch. Kruk tagging and going to third. The throw not in time. Back to second, safe. Excellent base running by both runners.
Courageous base running as much as anything else. John Kruk does not have great speed, but he is a very good base runner. The throw from Sharperson back to Dalton, who alertly was paying attention. Lenny Harris thought that he had him at second base, as did Sharperson. Now the throw misses the cutoff man. If he hits the cutoff man, who is the shortstop Offerman, then Dalton has no opportunity to try to go to second, and you keep the double play in order. And with Orel Hershiser pitching, keeping the double play in order is as important a thing as you can do. But the throw was a rainbow over Offerman's head, which enabled Dalton to go down to second.
I'll tell you what, it doesn't make any difference if you're playing Little League or Big League. Hitting the cutoff man is one of the most important things in baseball. I think Lenny Harris missed the tag. I think the ball was there ahead of Dalton, but I don't think he tagged him. So Mickey Morandini, the hitter, hitting .264, 2 homers, 15 RBIs. 1 ball to count. Up the middle through Hershiser, base hit. Kruk will score. Dalton being held at third. And the ball bounces away from Karros, the cutoff man, but not far enough. And it's 2-1, Los Angeles.
This ball was smoked between Orel Hershiser's legs. Again, you have to wonder if the defense is playing differently because the double play in order is in order. Does Offerman have a chance to make that ball, or at least knock it down going into the outfield? We talked about the lack of good defensive fundamentals by the Dodgers. Darryl Strawberry's overthrow of Offerman is one of them. And then at the end of that play, when Brett Butler's throw came in, Lenny Harris had to scatter at second base. And that throw short-hopped Karros, who was the relay man to home plate.
Those little things add up to be a great deal over the course of a season. A run here, a run there, an advanced base runner. Well, here's Joe Millette. He's 0 for 2 since being called up from Scranton Wilkes-Barre. He was hitting .266, 11 doubles, 23 RBIs in AAA. And he takes high ball 1. Looking for his first big league hit. Batting here with runners at first and third and 1 out. Morandini's RBI, his 16th of the year. Breaking ball. He went too far, says Joe West. 1-1.
Usually it's the first inning that gives Orel Hershiser trouble. Last year, he gave up 12 runs in 21 starts. It was a 5.14 ERA in the first inning.
Well, there have been a lot of great pitchers that have struggled to get by the first inning. And another good downer from Hershiser for a strike. 1 and 2.
As unusual as it may sound, and no matter how many times you pitch in these ballparks, you warm up in a mound in a situation in the bullpen, and it is completely different once you go out to the mound in the baseball game. You have to acclimate and adjust yourself all over again.
Especially when it's not your part.
Exactly right.
Slider fouled off. Still 1 and 2. Darren Dalton is at third base. Mickey Morandini at first base. A run is in. 3 hits in the inning. 1 away. And Joe Millette chases one in the dirt. We're out number 2.
Hershiser says, I saw him swinging my slider and he pulled his head out. I'm going further and further and further, and you see him pull his head off the ball on this swing also.
So here's Curt Schilling, who has a chance to tie the game up with Dalton at third base. Schilling hitting just 111. He has driven in 2 runs. And Hershiser with the fake to third and the throw to first, which of course never works.
Unless you've got Travis Fryman at first.
Well, this is true. Travis did stray a bit too far.
Twice in 1 week. Can you imagine that?
Talk about pulling your head. Schilling looked like he was looking for the hot dog vendor.
There were a few things besides his head that went on that swing.
Baby. Well, he is a pitcher.
Hey, easy.
0-1. And so he'll take strike 2.
So that's the one, if you're going to bail the way Schilling did on the first one, that's the pitch that you want to swing at, the one that starts inside, where when you pull off, you can still get something on it.
From the Bale and Wales school. And he hits a one-hopper to second. Lenny Harris will flip over to Eric Karros, and the inning is over. But the Phillies parlay 3 hits into a run, and it's 2-1 Los Angeles after 2. Gary right here back at the bed in Philadelphia. Steve Zabriskie and Larry Sorensen as we get set for the 3rd inning. The Dodgers with 2 in the first and the Phillies with 1 in the second. And the Dodgers will send up the number 2 hitter Brett Butler, followed by Mark Sharperson and Darryl Strawberry against Curt Schilling here in the 3rd. And the rain has abated. Skies are a little clearer, but the forecast is for continued showers. But with the artificial surface, we can take a little extra wetness. Brett Butler sacrificed in the first inning, and he takes a strike at the knee.
Much as they did in Cincinnati last Friday when we were last together.
Boy. Rain unbelievable. See Dave Hollins in at third, and Butler bunting again, dragging it down the first baseline, and no chance to get him. Kruk didn't know whether to field the ball or let Schilling take it, and when Schilling fielded the ball, there was no way he was going to catch up to Butler.
Brett Butler does this as well as anybody in the big leagues, as well as anybody in baseball. And he doesn't have the blazing speed of some other people, but look how perfectly placed this ball is. Gets past Schilling, freezes Kruk, got no chance. Do I flip it to Morandini, or do I just watch him slide in for a base hit?
That is the 34th infield hit and the 24th bunt base hit for Brett Butler this year. He's making a science out of it, even on artificial surface. So he's at first to lead off the inning, and Mike Sharperson, who walked and scored in the first, takes the ball.
And whenever another speedster that wants to lead off wants some advice on how to make that play or on how to bunt, Brett Butler's the guy they go to. Milt Tyler is the guy that comes to mind immediately. Spent a couple of hours with him in spring training.
I'll tell you what, he's got it down. And Butler draws the throw. Butler with 17 stolen bases, but he has been caught 11 times. Butler running, and the ball grounded right to second. Safe at second, and safe at first as the throw gets away from Kruk. A one-hopper. And that's what putting the runners in motion can do on what otherwise might have been a routine double play.
This is an ugly play in every single aspect of it. Morandini's there. He freezes because of Butler a little bit. Butler beats him to the bag, and he ties up Millette. Millette's throw still beats Sharperson, who was not hustling to first base, and Kruk couldn't handle that. There is not a single good aspect of that play.
No, they will not be using that as a teaching video.
Well, they might. Here's how not to.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Well, they haven't put up an error. Watch Butler eliminate any chance Millette has at continuing the play almost.
Now remember, this is Millette's second day in the big league, so the timing with Morandini is still something that he's trying to figure out. And Bugsy actually comes off the base, but steps back after he realizes he's beaten it.
Strawberry rips one foul off the facade of the stands for strike one. Darrell struck out swinging in the first inning. They have not posted an error, and they wouldn't presume a double play, but I don't know about whether or not Kruk could have come up with that ball. He might have gotten one out.
I think you've got to score that play E6, because I think that Sharperson wasn't hustling to first, and they would have beat him if Kruk comes up with the throw. Since it was in the dirt, I would give the error to Millette.
Yeah, you're probably right, but they did not post an error, or at least have not as yet. So fielder's choice for Sharperson. And even though it's not on the board, we're now told the official score says it is an error on the shortstop. They have not posted it on the scoreboard.
They must have ESPN on in the monitors in the press box, huh?
Yeah, whoever's operating the scoreboard isn't listening to us. Dalton going out to talk to Schilling, as they are now using a series of signs for the runner at second. In a relaxed mode.
You get the feeling talking to Fregosi that everything happened so fast to them this year. He didn't even go through a period of great frustration because it all happened so quickly. It was like, our season's gone.
Yeah, blew up starting opening day. As you mentioned earlier, Dykstra's injured. 2-1 to Darrell. Fastball at the knees. 2-2.
Talked with Lee Thomas, the general manager of the Phillies, a little bit before the game, and I said, it's not like there's somebody you can go out and get that's going to turn your club around. He said, no, depth was not our strong suit before the season started.
No, they've had to add guys wherever they find them. And Joe Millette, shortstop, an example of that, as he was not even with the club in spring training. Strawberry fouls it back, still 2-2.
Don Robinson, signed as a free agent after being released by the Angels, was here and made about 6 starts, and he caught the outside of the revolving door the other day.
Yeah, it may be over for Robbie and his zipper-laden body. He had a fine career, but boy, has he put up with the injury. In the dirt, a good play by Dalton. Dalton caught one where you'd rather not.
This is not a catcher's favorite play in the world, catching a fastball and having it bounce up, particularly where it got him.
And Joe West showing a little compassion, giving him a moment to collect himself. Strawberry with a shot, base hit right field. Here comes Butler. He's being sent home. Here comes a throw by Chamberlain, not in time. And the Dodgers take a 3-1 lead as Strawberry picks up his 23rd RBI of the year.
You talk a lot about what-ifs in the game of baseball, particularly when you're a pitcher, as we watch the play at home plate, which isn't even close with Brett Butler. But if they turn the double play and Morandini's playing at his normal position instead of shading second base to try for a double play, he makes that play routinely.
And the inning is over.
And the inning is over. Curt Schilling should be out of the inning.
Eric Davis takes low, ball one. Davis walked in the first inning. Nobody out. 2 singles and an error and a run in for the Dodgers.
Try telling Lee Thomas that at contract time, though.
Yeah. That's going to be out of play down the right field line. 1-1 to Davis. Well, it rained just enough to take the humidity from 98% all the way to 100. How pleasant.
All I can tell you is I feel the way Mike Scioscia looks.
I tell you. Activity in the bullpen for the Phillies as Davis takes it high and tight. Bob Ariel throwing for Philadelphia. 2-1. 3-1. And it was on a 3-run pitch in the first inning that Davis walked. Runners at first and second and nobody out here in the third inning. The Dodgers have added to their lead. It's 3-1 Los Angeles. Got jammed and grounded it to third. Going the short way is Hollins to Morandini, and that was almost in the dirt as they forced Strawberry for out number 1.
Well, you don't want to do anything routinely and just basically boring. You always want to make things an adventure, and this is. That ball easily could have gotten away from Morandini.
So runners at first and third now with 1 out, and Eric Karros, the hitter, he drove in the first 2 Dodger runs with a 2-out single to center in the first inning. This guy's a good-looking ball player. Takes a fastball for strike 1. Tommy Lasorda very high on Karros, but Tommy's a little like Sparky Anderson. You kind of have to take those praises with a grain of salt sometimes. But Karros looks like he can play a little bit. In the dirt, Dalton with a good block. 1-1. Eric Karros's 10 home runs, incidentally, are the most by a Dodger rookie since Greg Brock had 20 home runs during the 1983 season for the Dodgers in his rookie year. Of course, Karros has a chance to hit 20 and maybe more if he has a good second half. Fastball grounded sharply to shortstop. Millette, Morandini in front, and the inning is over. But 2 singles and an error lead to another Dodger run, and in the middle of the third, 3-1 Los Angeles. The leadoff hitter leading off the third for the Phillies, down by 2 to the Dodgers. Dykstra with a single to right field on the very first pitch in the first inning. Two balls and no strikes. To the man with multiple nicknames. Nails, Dude. Calls everybody Dude. From Garden Grove, California, the heart of Southern California, and of course speaks the surfer language quite well.
John Kruk had 3 or 4 nicknames for him today in the clubhouse, none of which I think I'll bother repeating.
No, we'll forget that. You talk about two unlikely guys who are very similar. John Kruk from the mountains of West Virginia and Lenny Dykstra from the beaches of Southern California, and they look like they came out of the same mold.
You know, that's an attitude that they're trying to advance around the Phillies clubhouse.
They want more of those kind of guys, and why not?
They think Dave Hollins has a chance to be like that. Larry Boa says Dave Hollins is the most intense player he's ever seen on the field, and that's going some coming from Larry Boa.
I'll tell you what, they get 9 of those guys, you won't be able to talk to anybody on this club. Well, that's the first walk issued by Hershiser as Dykstra's aboard, leading off the inning for Mariano Duncan, who grounded into a double play in the first inning. Dykstra with 15 stolen bases in 19 attempts. And Duncan skies it into right field. Darryl Strawberry drifting back. 1 away as Dykstra will return to first. And that'll bring up Dave Hollins, the intense one who lined out to the third baseman Mike Sharperson to end the first inning.
The intense one and the strong one, along with Darren Dalton, probably the 2 strongest members of the Phillies team.
Dave Hollins has the distinction this year of leading the major leagues in being hit by pitches. He stands right on top of the plate. He's been hit 12 times to lead both leagues in that department.
Not exactly the stat that you want to lead the league in.
No, unless you were Ron Hunt, who used to go up there and try to get hit. There goes Dykstra, and the pitch fouled back by Hollins. So Lenny will go back to first, and the count goes to 1-1.
Hershiser usually is a pretty friendly person to run off of. Last year, 11 of 13 runners were successful stealing bases. He also had 4 balks, which was 3rd in the National League. Got a very slow, deliberate leg kick. Pretty easy to run on. When you're down a couple of runs is not necessarily the best time to be doing it, but it's still pretty early in the game.
Dykstra running again. The pitch is low, and the throw is not in time. Socha made a good throw, but Dykstra had the big jump. And as you said, Larry, that base stolen on Hershiser.
Had the big jump, and he picked a great pitch to run on, an off-speed breaking ball that's in the dirt. You can't find a much better pitch to run on than that. Socha had no chance.
So for Dykstra, his 16th stolen base, he's at second and 1 out. And a count 2-1 now to Hollins. Sharply hit and into right field. Here comes Dykstra around third. Strawberry will not make a throw. And the Phillies cut the lead in half. It's 3-2 Los Angeles.
This is the kind of base hit where AstroTurf makes all the difference in the world, because ordinarily Karros has a chance to catch that ball if it slows down a little bit with 2 hops on grass and 1 hop on the dirt, at least to make a diving play to knock the ball down and keep it from getting into the outfield to save the run. I hate AstroTurf.
Well, spoken as a pitcher would. 5th hit for the Phillies, and the league's leading hitter John Kruk, who singled and scored in the second, is the hitter. Did he go too far? No, he did not. Ball 1. Kruk hitting .367 against right-handed pitching this year prior to his base hit against Hershiser in the second. Kruk lines it to left field. Eric Davis coming on, makes the catch. And Hollins, who was all the way to second, hustles back to first now with 2 out. Good play by Eric Davis.
You've got to know that Tommy Lasorda and staff were cringing in the Dodger dugout watching Eric Davis go after this ball. It was diving after a ball that he jammed his right shoulder and injured it the last time. They're just getting him back in the lineup. They want to keep him in the lineup. He said, you can't fault the guy for playing as hard as he does. Before, I wish he didn't get hurt.
Well, you know, as brittle as he is, he really shouldn't do that. I mean, he's proven over the years that he needs to back off a little bit so that he can remain in the lineup. Darren Daulton singled to center in the second inning, and he fouls it out of play down the left field line for strike one. Hollins will go back to first. A run in for Philadelphia here in the third on Holland's RBI single. The Dodgers lead by 1. Daulton here at home hitting .350 on the year. He likes it at the vet. And a sinker for a strike at the knees, 0-2.
That's those AstroTurf base hits, you know. He also has,
other parks have AstroTurf too.
He also has 9 of his 13 home runs here at the vet.
Well, the ball ordinarily does carry very well here. Way outside, 1-2. I don't think you like this park very much, do you?
I gave up a couple bombs here. No, I didn't like it.
You had to throw to Schmitty and those guys too, you know.
Yeah, Schmitty got me in Montreal. He never got me here.
I had some guys that could take you deep, no matter what the park. 2-2 now. 2 out with Hollins at first.
How about that other big fella they used to have, that Luzinski guy?
The Bull. Fouled off at home plate, still 2-2. The Bull, Greg Luzinski, has a son named Ryan, who's also a fairly decent young hitter, I hear.
Just getting beat up behind the plate, getting beat up at the plate. So you want to be a catcher.
Bad enough. You don't have to go up there and do it to yourself. Just outside. 3-2, and with 2 out, Eric Karros, the first baseman, tells Hershiser he's going to play behind the runner Hollins, who will be off with the pitch. Hollins running, ball 4. Runners at first and second with 2 out. The inning continues, and we will continue with Gary Miller.
Steve, let's check out action between the Padres and Expos. 2 out, scoreless game when Darren Fletcher hits a bullet. Kurt Stillwell can't handle it. Delino DeShields and John Vanderbilt will score off Andy Venice. They've gone to the 5th now with the Expos up 2-0. Back to you.
Thanks, Gary. Well, there you go. There's another AstroTurf hit. See, they're everywhere. Just for you. They showed that replay highlight for you. Well, Wes Chamberlain flied out to right field in the second inning, batting here with runners at first and second and 2 out. Ground ball sharply hit to short, comes up on Offerman, but he stays with it for the forced play on Dalton, and the inning is over. But Philadelphia adds a run on a base hit and a walk. I'll tell you what, it's a great night for something cold to drink. It is sticky in Philadelphia tonight here at Veterans Stadium. We're going to the 4th inning with the Dodgers leading the Phillies 3-2. And for the Dodgers, the bottom third of the order, and Tommy Lasorda, the ever effervescent cheerleader. Lenny Harris will lead it off. He flied to center field to end the first inning. Mike Scioscia and Orel Hershiser to follow. Curt Schilling delivers, and Harris skies it down the left field line. Going hard is Joe Millette, but he can't quite get there, and not for lack of effort.
8.5, 8.5, 9.0. What do you give him on that, Steve?
I'll tell you
he was
what,
airborne.
That's about a 9.5 on that baby. He was fully extended, you might say. Strike 1. 1-1. Schilling has allowed 3 runs on just 4 hits. He's been hurt a little bit by an error. Harris gets jammed, and Schilling throws him out, 1 away. And that'll bring up Soch. Mike Soch popped out to the third baseman Hollins in the second. This guy has got to be a coach and possibly could be a manager someday if he chooses.
Great knowledge of the game. We talked during one of the breaks. We talked a little bit about whether or not this would be his last year in a Dodgers uniform or in the game. And I think he still has a lot of playing left. But wherever he goes or whatever he does, he's going to be a great instructor. He has outstanding knowledge.
Hits one on the ground to short. Joe Millette, with that good glove and arm, throws him out, 2 away. So Hershiser will hit with 2 out and nobody on. And a 1-run lead. And many pitchers will tell you they don't care how many hits they get. They'd like to get 4 at-bats every game. That means they're pitching and winning. And Arl takes a strike. He grounded to short his first time up. Fouled off. 0-2.
Have a night, Dutch.
Oh, man.
Watch your face.
Hello.
Got you again. Then the knee, too.
I tell you what, there are times, there are games like this. I mean, this could go on all night. It's like you're all of a sudden a magnet for that thing, whether you're hitting, catching. Next, he'll get hit by a ball on the bases or something. Hollins had a little trouble getting out of his glove, but retires Hershiser, and the Dodgers go in order in the 4th. They still lead it, however, 3-2.
Throw all at home, but with 2 aboard in the 3rd, Darnell Coles, who had only homered once all season. They are missing Reggie Sanders with an injury. He's one of those filling in, and he takes a 3-run shot out of the yard, and he's put his team up. Let's go back to the vet.
Thanks, Gary. Right here, we're going to the bottom of the 4th inning with the Dodgers leading by 1 over the Phillies, and Mickey Morandini trying to bunt his way on. Pops it up. Socha throws him out. That ball appeared to come right off the front edge of home plate. 1 away.
Morandini made the fatal error you should never make. He turned around to look back to see what they were going to call it. Keep on running. They'll let you know what it is. The ball bounces off, goes straight up, and there he takes the look back to see what's happening. Too late. You're out.
Morandini had singled in a run his first at bat, and here's Joe Millette, who struck out swinging in the 2nd inning. He takes a strike. Millette with 3 big league at bats, still looking for his first hit, and there's Hershiser with the good breaking ball for strike 2.
I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and say he doesn't like breaking balls.
I'm going to also tell you that he probably isn't going to see much else. And Hershiser tried to get him to chase another one.
Well, we can analyze this game, Ken.
I'll tell you what. Some of it, I wish it was all as simple as that.
He's pitching him just the way I would.
Another breaking ball. This one grounded to 3rd. Sharperson with a long throw. Safe. And there is his first big league hit. First base coach Mel Roberts says, "Give me the baseball." And Millette with an infield single for his initial big league knock.
Sharperson had a little trouble getting his balance back, so he didn't have much on the throw. Millette didn't beat it by much, but he's got one to take back with him.
He's at first with 1 out, and Kurt Schilling the pitcher up, so we'll see if a play is on. Schilling squaring and taking high and tight. Dutch Rennert, the first base umpire, said no. He did not offer at that ball, so it's ball 1.
That's a tough pitch to bunt.
Oh. Unless you want to do it with your teeth. Hershiser will go to first. The sacrifice moves Millette to second with 2 out. And let's go back to Gary.
All right, Steve, a dual no-hitter, but it's only the 3rd inning with Alex Fernandez facing Jamie Navarro, and this is Kevin Seitzer giving Navarro the lead. Out of there for a home run. The Milwaukee Brewers up 1-0 on Seitzer's 3rd home run of the year.
Thank you, sir. Right here, the Dodgers lead the Phillies by a run. 2 out in the bottom of the 4th. Joe Millette at second base for Len Dykstra. Dykstra has singled and walked, stolen a base, and scored a run. Breaking ball grounded to first. Karros backs up to get the hop over to Hershiser, and the inning is over. 1 hit, Joe Millette's first big league base hit, and 1 left in the 4th. Standing here in Philadelphia, the Dodgers with a 1-run lead over the Phillies, and a reminder that football is just around the corner. Coming up from Tokyo, Saturday night, August 1st, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann will be bringing you the NFL season premiere, the 6th year here on ESPN. The Houston Astros and the Dallas Cowboys. It's the battle for Texas bragging rights. And in Texas, that's important.
And what better place to play that game than Tokyo?
Makes sense to me. Jose Offerman 1 for 2. Singled and scored in the 1st inning. Struck out in the 2nd. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Curt Schilling working for the Phillies and down by a run here in the 5th. Top of the order for the Dodgers, Offerman, Butler, and Sharperson. I'll tell you what, though, the Oilers and the Cowboys should both have pretty decent teams this year. High and tight. 3-2.
Jimmy Jones owns that city, doesn't he?
Tell you what. There's Sammy. Juan Samuel, who, of course, played a number of seasons here with the Philadelphia Phillies. Offerman leads off with a walk here in the 5th. Back to Gary Miller.
Steve, this weekend, the Cubs will not see Danny Jackson, but the Pirates will have to deal with Steve Buechele. Their new 3rd baseman, Jeff King, robbed by the old one. He comes up gunning as Greg Maddux is going for a win tonight. They'll be on our air on Sunday. Right now, we go back to the vet.
I'll tell you what, Buechele can play that 3rd. No matter what club he goes to, he helps. Brett Butler had a bunt base hit, his 24th bunt base hit of the year back in the 3rd inning. He sacrificed. In the 1st, the runner goes. Offerman from first, and Butler fouls it off. You can see that Dave Hollins, the 3rd baseman, is way in. And if it were grass, he'd be way in on the grass. He's just way in here on the turf.
Of course, that opens up the infield defense. Joey Amalfitano put on the hit-and-run play on the 1st pitch. Brett Butler tried to slap the ball past Hollins at 3rd base.
Tell you what, Bugsy can handle that bat. And if he gets the pitch away, he can drill it that way easily. Bruck digs the throw out of the dirt. Offerman has 11 stolen bases. The Dodgers have run a fair amount, but their success ratio is not real high as a team. And Butler lays down another bunt. Schilling to first. And Offerman is at second with 1 out.
Now, this is not a definite sacrifice attempt. That's a bunt for a base hit. But because Brett Butler is so good at it, the Dodgers feel they can afford to take a shot at that offensive play instead of just putting a regular sacrifice play on.
Well, Butler did a similar thing in the 1st inning, and he was credited with a sacrifice. Ordinarily, if you wait that long and bunt in that fashion, they figure you're bunting for a base hit. But with a runner at first, they're more likely to credit you with a sacrifice if it's marginal. Sharperson takes a strike. He has walked, scored, and reached on an error. play. 0-2. Tommy had a little pasta delivered this afternoon to the clubhouse. A little spaghetti and meatballs before the game. There's something going in every National League city. Outside, 1-2.
Yeah, he is never short of people in his office, and most of them bearing food and gifts.
That's right.
Where you go?
He has a lot of friends in every National League city, and quite often most of them show up at the manager's office. I don't know why that is.
Of course, he passes out Slim Fast in return.
Gave me a box.
Didn't use it, did you?
No comment. Strawberry on deck. Still a ball and 2 strikes to Sharperson. Breaking ball, a hit on the ground to short. Millette to first in time. On the play, Offerman easily to third, now with 2 out. So here's Darrell. He has struck out swinging and singled in a run, driving in his 23rd of the year with a base hit to right in the 3rd. And you can see where Morandini is playing. A short right field with Strawberry at the plate.
And I think he feels like if Fregosi wouldn't yell at him for being deeper, he'd take a couple more steps back.
Yes, sir. Down low, 2-0.
Watching the Strawberry Davis Butler group hitting today during batting practice, and Darrell would swing the bat and he's hitting these mammoth drives, and Brett Butler said, I don't think he has any idea how much talent he's got.
No.
He hits the ball so hard.
I'll tell you what, Darrell has hit some shots.
He has a very long swing, and he's got that high leg kick. You would think that you could do different things to him with off-speed pitches to tie him up or try to pound him in on his hands. He likes to get his arms extended, and he does have very long arms. He's got that lanky body, and he's got such a big swing, he likes the ball away from him more.
Most power hitters like to get their arms out anyway, but Darrell has had a lot of success getting the bat head out on inside pitches. It's hard to get the ball by him inside. High and away, ball 4. So a 2-out walk to Strawberry puts runners at first and third. Each of them have reached on a walk. That is the 4th walk issued by Schilling. 2 out for Eric Davis, who has walked and reached on a fielder's choice. To short, right to Joe Millette, and the inning is over. 2 walks and 2 left in the 5th for the Dodgers. They still lead it 3-2. Baseball here at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Game 1 of our Friday night doubleheader. It's a 3-2 Dodger lead over the Phils as we go to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Steve Zabriskie and Larry Sorensen with you as per usual. We had a little rain shower early in the game, but it went bye-bye, and we haven't had any since. Mariano Duncan, the number 2 hitter for the Phillies, will lead it off against Oral Hershiser, whose breaking ball is in there for a strike. Duncan tonight grounded into a double play and flied out to right. He's 0 for 2. Hit on the ground. Jose Offerman. High throw. Pulls Karros off the bag. And Duncan is safe. And the Dodgers commit their 88th league-leading 88th error.
21 of them by Jose Offerman, also a league-leading number. He's got plenty of time. There's no hurry. He just throws it off target. Duncan runs okay, not great. He's getting a little bit older. He had plenty of time to make the play. Tommy Lasorda does not like what he sees.
He's seen it too often. So Dave Hollins, who is 1 for 2, he lined hard to third in the first, and then singled to right in the third to drive in Len Dykstra. Ball 1.
You look at a club like that, then you look at Baltimore, who for the season is on a pace to only make 84 errors for the entire year. You wonder why teams are in second and why teams are in last.
Yep. Often the overlooked factor is defense. It's one thing that has hurt what should be a pretty good Mets pitching staff. They just haven't had the plays being made behind them. Now the news is that Dwight Gooden is going to go on the DL apparently with recurring shoulder problems. But ball clubs like the Dodgers and the Phillies can be their own worst enemies. Duncan being kept close. He has 14 steals in 15 attempts.
It's been a long time since the Dodgers have played good defense, too. You go back to the Bill Russell, Davey Lopes, Steve Garvey days. Even that group on the corners were not noted for their defense.
It's true, but they were stronger up the middle than this club, and that's been a real problem. Offerman with the 21 errors at short, and the Dodgers haven't had a solid second baseman. There's Duncan with a fake break.
Hershiser knows that he has trouble holding runners, so he's got to try every possible trick that he can to try to help Mike Sochaux.
That includes stepping off. It includes just holding the ball. Sometimes that's very effective. There goes Duncan, and Hollins fouls it back. Mariano had a big jump, but he will have to go back to first.
Holding the ball, varying the amount of throws over to first base, varying the amount of looks to first base before you throw.
Third base coach Larry Boa relaying the signs.
Boa's name starting to be bandied about for one of the expansion jobs.
Yep, Boa's had a little experience, managed the Padres for a while after having a lot of success managing their AAA club in Las Vegas before moving up to the San Diego job. Balls, 1 strike. Nobody out here in the 5th inning, and Mariano Duncan at first on the error by Offerman. And Duncan chased back again.
Of course, from a pitcher's standpoint, the best thing that you can do to help your catcher out is get the ball to home plate as quickly as possible by employing the slide step, if need be, that Rick Russell made so famous. Hershiser doesn't do that. He's got the big leg kick. His concern is the man at home plate.
Mariano with a fake break again, and a base hit to right field by Hollins. Duncan will go to third. Strawberries throw to second. And the Phillies have runners at first and third with nobody out. Dave Hollins with his second hit of the night.
This was an abbreviated step towards home plate by Orel Hershiser, and it results in a bad pitch. It's a ball that doesn't sink away as he wanted it to, and Hollins rips it into the hole. Duncan has to hold up to watch the ball coming behind him. Makes it to third base very easily.
John Kruk, the hitter, 1 for 2. And the sinker sinks low, ball 1. Kruk singled and scored in the second inning and lined out to left in the third.
So again, you start with the what ifs. What if Jose Offerman makes a routine throw to first to get Mariano Duncan? That ground ball is right at Eric Karros, and you got 2 men out, John Kruk at the plate. Instead, you're first and third with nobody out.
Blowing away, 2-1. And the Dodger bullpen starting to heat up. Tim Cruz is the right-hander. Steve Wilson, the left-hander. Outside, 3-1. Foul back. 3-2, and I bet you Kruk would like to have another cut at that pitch.
Had a pretty good swing at that one. Anytime the ball is fouled straight back like that, it means that the hitter is right on, has it timed exactly perfect when he fouls the ball straight back. Had a good idea what was coming, and he jumped all over it.
Now it's a full count. Runners at first and third and nobody out. Kruk drives it to left field. Eric Davis going back off the wall. One hopper. Duncan scores. Here comes Dave Hollins, and he will score. John Kruk with a 2-run double, and the Phillies take the lead.
Eric Davis thought this ball had a chance to get off the wall, so he held up. It actually short-hopped the wall. Again, with the sore arm, the sore shoulder, not very much that he can do with the throw. He just gets it back into Offerman, who was in shallow left field, a little bit deeper than normal.
For Kruk, he now has 47 RBIs on the year, 2 hits on the night. And Darren Dalton will be intentionally walked to put runners at first and second. There is still no one out here in the 5th inning. The Phillies now lead 4-3. Duncan's going to get some toweling off, as well as a little fluid back in him. And John, West Virginia Kruk
will probably be getting the same when he comes in and the inning's over.
I'll tell you what, you look at him and you think he doesn't have the perfect body, but that guy is a good athlete, and he runs better than you might think. This guy, however, has a body. Wes Chamberlain is put together. He is tonight 0 for 2, however, having flied out to right and reached on a fielder's choice. He grounded into an inning-ending force play in the 3rd. First and second, nobody out. Strike 1. Chamberlain, when he was with the Phillies at the beginning of the season, hit just .202, so they sent him back to AAA. They called him back up on June 18th. Since then, he's hit over 300. Foul back. 0-2.
.70 pitches now for Orel Hershiser, and that is not the kind of ratio that you ordinarily see from somebody with the control of Orel Hershiser. Coming into this game, he had 39 walks in 116 innings. Usually pitching ahead, making hitters chase his pitch.
And it bounces away from Socha. Both runners advance. And Hershiser will be charged with a wild pitch.
This will be his 5th wild pitch of the year, the breaking ball that Socha just can't keep in front of him. He does the proper job getting his body down to his knees to block the ball, but it squirts off to the side.
So now 2 runners in scoring position. And the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Lasorda talking to home plate umpire Joe West. He wants to know why it wasn't a strike on Wes Chamberlain.
Thought it might have been a check swing.
He's probably wondering why he did not ask for help and get an appeal from the first base umpire, Dutch Renner.
Well, I guarantee you Tommy is not in the mood for an umpire to start coming back at him the way things have gone for him the first half of this year.
Well, Country Joe is not one to turn and walk away either. Joe West is probably saying, hey, I saw it. Now here comes Dutch Renner from third. He's the crew chief. Or no, he's not. Terry Tata is. And that is Terry Tata.
You have to give these guys an awful lot of credit because there are so many situations that come up and they've got so much to pay attention to. You ever sit down and read a rule book sometime?
Yes, I have.
It's not thrilling stuff.
I'll tell you what. When you get through, you're not sure what you read. Well, Lasorda's battling for an out here. He wants an out in this situation. With 2 runners in scoring position, 2 runs in and nobody out of the inning. And the Philadelphia fans are trying to get Tommy to get back in the dugout, and let's get on with the game.
And obviously, if he gets the check swing call and gets the strikeout, then they can set up a double play again.
Let's look at it again.
And to Tommy's credit, it was very close.
Chamberlain taking that hand off the bat in an effort to help himself a little bit.
To Joe West's credit, he's got the final say. Of course, that appeal would go down to Dutch Renner at first base.
So it's 1-2. The runner's advancing on that wild pitch. Broken bat, base hit, left field. Here comes Kruk to score. Dalton held at third, runners at first and third, and the Phillies lead by 2.
When it starts to fall apart on you, this is the kind of stuff that happens. He makes the good breaking ball on the outside corner, hit right off the end of the bat, shatters it. You think that the ball is going to go far. You see how off balance he was. The ball's not hit very sharply, and actually goes underneath the wrist of Sharperson. But it's a base hit and an RBI, and here comes Ron Peranowski.
It's now 5-3 Philadelphia as the Dodgers led 3-2 starting this inning. 9 hits for the Phillies, and that's going to do it for Orel. It appears as if Peranowski has signaled for the left-hander Steve Wilson. And Hershiser does not make it through the 5th and will leave at this point as the pitcher of record on the losing side. 5-3 Philadelphia. We'll be back in just a minute. Orel Hershiser fails to record an out here in the 5th inning, giving up 3 runs so far and still responsible for the base runners at first and third. And Steve Wilson makes his 37th appearance of the season in relief.
But one of the things that a number of the pitchers talked to me about today was how it was going to feel having the extra time off. Steve Wilson, for example, hasn't pitched since July 8th in one of those double headers that they had with Montreal. And he pitched very well, but he hasn't pitched now in 10 days. And for a reliever, that's a difficult thing to do, to try and keep your control and have that much time off when you're used to pitching once every 2 or 3 days.
So we'll see how he fares against Mickey Morandini. Morandini tonight 1 for 2, drove in a run with a single to center in the 2nd. And tried to bunt his way on opening fourth inning and was thrown out by catcher Mike Scioscia. 3 runs are in the inning to give the Phillies the lead. Runners at first and third with nobody out. Ball 1.
Tough inning for Oral Hershiser, who realistically could have been out of the inning with a little support behind him.
Started off bad with the error on Offerman, allowing Duncan aboard to open the inning. The strike to Morandini, 1-1.
Last year in the 70 innings he pitched, he didn't give up an unearned run, so it's catching up with him a little bit, I guess.
Fouled out of play, 1-2. Belton at third and Chamberlain at first. Scioscia's setting up way outside, and that's where the pitch is. 2-2. Morandini now hitting .266. He's done a pretty good job for the Phillies. And as you mentioned earlier, Larry, they've had an opportunity for a lot of guys to show what they can do. Chamberlain from first. Morandini fouls it off out of play down the left field line, so West will go back. The count remaining 2-2.
They've had the chance for a lot of new guys to show what they can do too. They've had 15 rookies this year in the big leagues, 6 of whom are on the club at this moment. I mean, it's one thing to have guys that have some big league experience and that are able to fill in and have been in that role before. It's something else to just bring kids up and throw them out there and say, here, have fun, you're going to learn here.
Strike 3 call. First out here in the 5th inning. Let's go to Gary Miller.
Steve, we've got a no-hitter in progress at Comiskey Park. Jamie Navarro against the White Sox. But it's in danger here. Pat Listach's way in the hole, but he got him. Made another fine play in the inning, threw 5. Navarro with a no-hitter. The only run of the game, coming back Kevin Seitzer home run. This time he tries to butt his way out and in your face. The throw by Fernandez to Thomas, and it's still 1-0 Milwaukee.
First base umpire signaling he tagged him on top of the head. Tagged him on top of the nose, it looked like.
That's a facial. Oof. What a job Pat Listach has done for the Brewers this year.
I guess so. A find. Well, will Joe Millette be a find? He got his first major league hit, an infield hit to third, his last time up in the 4th. He struck out back in the 2nd, 1 for 2. And Chamberlain, 1 step away from the bag, draws the throw.
Guess Steve Wilson thought it was a giant step.
Sharply hit to third. Sharperson to second, on to first for the double play, and the inning is over. So Steve Wilson does the job with a strikeout and a double play, but 3 runs by Philadelphia give them a 5-3 lead.
The Expos open the second half with a win. They're 5 games back in the East. Chris Naphol's facing Darren Jackson with a bullet with the man aboard. Denied by Larry Walker. Tried to double up McGriff, couldn't, but Naphol still has the shutout going as the Padres come to bat in the 8th. We go back to the vets.
Thank you, Gary. A guy who's winless since June 18th deserves to have a shutout going. He needs it. Right here, the Phillies have turned the game around with 3 runs in the bottom half of the 5th inning to take the lead, 5-3. The Philly fanatic is entertained between innings. And we go to the 6th with Eric Karros leading it off for the Dodgers. Curt Schilling, the beneficiary of that 3-run 5th inning by the Phillies. Karros, Harris, and Scioscia for the Dodgers here in the 6th. Carroll's tonight 1 for 2. Outside, ball 1. He drove in a run. Actually drove in 2 runs in the first inning with a single to center, and ended the third by grounding into a double play. High fly ball down the right field line, slicing out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Souvenir City.
You almost had a souvenir the last time we were here. Wasn't it here the ball hit off the monitor right next to you?
That's right. I don't know. I wasn't looking. I was
under the table.
I was getting out of the way. Ground ball to short. Backhanded by Joe Millette. Long throw just in time. Millette has not only shown a good glove, but a strong arm.
Well, you like to say that the kid knew who was running and realized that he had time, but he waited an awfully long time to backhand this ball, and I'm sure that Larry Boa or somebody will talk to him about it. Took a long time for that ball to get to him, but as you said, he had a strong arm on the play. Good control, too.
Good throw. That's Renner making the call, and Lenny Harris, the hitter, 0 for 2. Big breaking ball for a strike. Harris has flied to center and grounded to the pitcher. And a strike call, 0-2.
Well, love those shortstops with the good arms. Still like Whitey Herzog's line about Dwight Gooden and Sean Dunston. How could they draft Dunston ahead of Gooden? He said it's easy. He's got a better arm.
Saw some of the crowd here tonight at the Vet. You might wonder what the heck are 45,000 people doing for a battle of last place teams. It's fireworks night here at the Vet. Pounded off the plate again. Joe Millette has the chance and makes it. 2 out in the 6th. They have in fact been shooting off a few fireworks every other inning or so just to whet the crowd's appetite.
There's some fireworks on this ball going over to first base, too. He threw that ball harder than he threw the last one.
So 2 out, nobody on for Mike Scioscia, who is 0 for 2. He has popped the third and grounded to Millette at short. The strike catches the outside corner.
Had fireworks night here last night also, and they had over 40,000 people again. The Phillies became the 7th team in the National League to go over the $1 million mark in attendance this season.
Rip foul. Frustratingly out of reach. Well, Dave Hansen is on deck, and he would be a pinch hitter for Steve Wilson, the pitcher, if Mike Scioscia continues the inning. Scioscia just fouling it out of play, and the count remaining 0-2. Up foul and out of play.
Some of nature's fireworks starting to go off above the lights at the Vet now.
The lightning.
After he gets out of the first, Schilling settles down and becomes very consistent.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
Danny Litweiler. Remember Danny Litweiler?
Yes.
Was a Philly for a while. He coached at Michigan State. Told me one time that to be successful in an inning, you should throw about 14.5 pitches per inning. That should be the average.
It's that half a
It's
pitch
that
that
half.
gets you in trouble,
Yeah.
I tell you. Scioscia pounds one into the ground. Dave Hollins throws him out. And on 3 ground balls, the Dodgers go in order here in the 6th inning. Phillies still lead it by 2. At the bottom of the 6th inning here in Philadelphia, the Phillies coming back to take the lead 5-3 over the Dodgers. And pitcher Curt Schilling will lead it off. Steve Wilson working in relief of Oral Hershiser for the Dodgers. It'll be Schilling, and on the top of the order, Len Dykstra and Mariano Duncan. High ball 1. Schilling is 0 for 1 plus a sacrifice in the 4th. Tad low, I guess. 2-0. Looked pretty good. 2-1. Schilling, a 107 hitter on the year. May not see the Mendoza line this season. Fouls it off. 2-2. So difficult for pitchers, and I think that one of the reasons pitchers don't hit as well as they used to is because of the designated hitter in the minor leagues.
Absolutely.
Guys don't hit
in the colleges, even in the high school level, some.
And usually, at least it used to be, that the guy who was the best pitcher on the team and had a shot at a big league career was also one of the best hitters on his high school team.
Generally because pitchers are the best athletes.
Yeah, well, you would say that.
But
No,
you're
I mean,
exactly
that's
right. But as you go up the ladder and things start getting more and more specialized, they want you to concentrate on your pitching. And in fact, they're very reluctant to give up their batting practice time.
That's right.
You almost never get to face good batting practice. The coaches that throw better BP are always throwing to your regular hitters.
Schilling battling, fouling it back, 2-2.
You hit off somebody that is either a scrubini or coming off the disabled list or some high school kid that they found to work out.
Right. Pay him $5 and have him throw 250 balls. But, you know, before the designated hitter in the minor leagues, you still had pitchers in the National League, at least, that could, you know, swing the bat fairly well, retain some of that ability. Now a guy goes maybe 5 years, never hits. Then he comes to the big leagues, and he only gets to take batting practice at home.
And he takes swings like that.
Yes. And Schilling's doing well to hang in there. And you don't think he knows it? 2-2. And he nubs another one foul. He's battling anyway. It ain't pretty, but he's hanging in there.
Get out of my kitchen with that fastball.
And yet he'll go back out there the next half inning and try to do exactly the same thing.
Although he'll be facing a pinch hitter instead of Steve Wilson.
He fouls another one off.
He got a big hit against the Pirates a few weeks ago when we were here and was very proud of it. That's all he wanted to talk about. Drove in a run. And in fact, I noticed in the newspaper today, he's still talking about the base hit that he got against the Pirates.
Well, you contribute any way you can, right? He certainly has contributed, as we spoke earlier, of his mound work, both as a reliever and a starter. Just missed. Wilson thought he had him punched out of there, but it's 3-2.
I thought he had him punched out.
Well, all three pitches that were called balls in this at bat were pretty darn close. Wilson's probably saying to Joe West, hey, that's a pitcher up there hitting. And he fouls another one off. If nothing else, Schilling's getting popular with the crowd. He's passing out a bunch of souvenirs here. Chases a high fastball, and he's able to get the bat on it.
That pitch is out of the strike zone. He's kind of in a I'm swinging no matter where mode right now. Unless he locks me up, I'm swinging.
Maybe Socha ought to set up behind him.
Well, and then he laid off a pitch that missed by about a quarter of an inch.
Yeah, right. There's no figuring it out. Ball 4. Heck of an at bat by Curt Schilling. He earned that walk.
Ought to give him a baseball for that at bat, you know. Millette got his.
Of course, I don't know on a hot, humid night like tonight whether the Phillies want to have Schilling running the bases as the leadoff hitter. Here's Len Dykstra. 1 for 2 plus a walk, a stolen base, and a run scored. Joe Amalfitano and Tommy Lasorda discussing things. Fastball for a strike. Dykstra hitting .286 on the year at this at bat. 3 home runs, 28 RBIs. pickup by Socha. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He does do that very well, doesn't he?
He has the hands and the technique. Dykstra has always hit the Dodgers well throughout his career. He entered the game a .306 hitter against Los Angeles pitching. Lays off the high one. 2-1. Pitcher Curt Schilling, the runner at first base with nobody out. He walked to lead off the inning. Dykstra hits it in the air to right field. Strawberry back. 1 away. And Schilling was only about 15 feet off the bag. Not going to waste any energy that he doesn't have to.
Well, you sleep good after working on a night like tonight when you're the pitcher. This pitch was out of the strike zone high. Dykstra chased it, wasn't able to get on top of it, and lofted a routine fly ball to right field.
Mariano Duncan, the hitter. He is 0 for 3, but he scored a run last inning after reaching on an error on the shortstop Offerman. Ball 1.
Of course, you say that pitch is out of the strike zone high. What that means is that it's about 2 inches above the belt.
Yeah, anything above the belt is a ball, especially in the National League. I think a good rule of thumb for young hitters, no matter what league they happen to play in, and that one looked like it was in there, but apparently low, 2-0, is if the ball is above your hands, don't swing. And by and large, it's not going to be called a strike.
I'll have to try that with my 6-year-old.
I think it's a good rule, and by and large, kids can't get on top of those pitches anyway.
No.
So they're better off, even if it's called a strike, to take it than to pop it up. And I really believe that's a good way to approach hitting. If the ball is above your hands, take it. 2 balls and a strike to Duncan. Carroll's playing some games with Schilling, who, of course, doesn't get on base down there all that often. Duncan fouling it away, and a count now 2-2.
Well, slapping his glove to make him think that something's going on, but I don't think Schilling is going to wander too far off first base anyway.
No.
But when you're a pitcher, you're out there, you're scared to death. I mean, the one thing you don't want is to have yourself embarrassed. Ooh, nice play by the ball girl down the line, and then makes another fan happy giving away a souvenir. The last thing in the world you want is to get picked off and have to walk from first base to the dugout.
Oh.
It's like having your pants taken down in front of 45,000 people.
Yeah, talk to Steve Lyons about that. He took his own pants down in front of about 30,000 people.
I always thought he should have been a left-handed pitcher.
Well, still hope.
I see he just got put on the waiver list again.
Yeah.
With the Red Sox.
Funny guy. Duncan fouls another one on. 3-2, 1 out, 1 on. We're in the bottom half of inning number 6, and the Phillies are leading the Dodgers 5-3.
They have to be rubbing up some more baseballs here pretty soon.
I'm telling you what, this has been not only fireworks night, but souvenir baseball night. Another pop-up foul. This one's going to make it onto the dugout, and another fan is happy.
Of course, the home plate umpire is the umpire for the night who is in charge of rubbing the baseballs up with the Mississippi mud or the Delaware River mud or whatever it is that they use. But when the game is going on and they sometimes run out of balls, then the clubhouse manager is usually the guy that does it. And if you're winning, then those balls get rubbed up real well. They make them dirty and try and scuff them up so the pitcher can make them do everything they want.
effort by Lenny Harris and Carlson Strawberry, but none of them able to get to it as it lands just out of reach of Harris.
Good hustle by all three of them. Lenny was the closest, but you can see that he heard footsteps just a little bit.
Now look at that fan. You think that fan cared about helping Lenny Harris avoid injury? No, he wants that $5 baseball. Harris can go sprawling for all he cares. Still 3-2. Fouled back again. It's unbelievable. These two at bats, Schilling and Duncan, they've gone through over a dozen balls between them. And I believe they're about $52 a dozen these days. Sharply hit up the middle and right through Lenny Harris. Butler hustling and throwing to third. Safe. Kurt Schilling giving a thrill to pitchers everywhere as he goes from first to third and then a head-first slide.
Well, Schilling has a vapor lock and thinks he's Lou Brock. Any kind of throw, and he's out easily at third base. The throw is off the line, up the third baseline. And Schilling makes it. Not very smart base running. Porous defense again by the Los Angeles Dodgers. Routine double play ball. It stays down on Lenny Harris. Give him a little credit. That ball hit the seam and stayed down on him. The seam of the dirt and the AstroTurf. Any kind of throw, and Schilling's out at third. Now you got your pitcher all running around dirty and sweaty and everything else. He's going to have to go back out there. Look for some action in the Phillies bullpen before long.
And Dave Hollins, who is 2 for 3 plus a line out, is going to be walked intentionally. You see the Dodgers total now 89 errors to lead the big leagues. And this will load the bases with 1 out. Duncan reaches on an error for the 2nd inning in a row. And Tommy Lasorda, almost as if he's in shock, but he has seen this all too often before.
Give a little credit, too, to Mariano Duncan for hustling to second base on Butler's throw to third.
Good base running by Duncan, who had the play in front of him. So the bases are loaded for John Kruk. Kruk is 2 for 3 plus a line out. He singled and scored in the 2nd, lined to left in the 3rd, and hit a 2-run double in the 5th inning to left field, and later scored again. The Phillies leading by 2 and threatening yet again with 1 out here in the 6th. With the bases loaded, this year, John Kruk is hitting .500. I think Wilson may have overthrown that first pitch.
No question about it. Dropped his elbow, tried to throw it 120 miles an hour, was going to throw that through Sosa, through Joe West, back to the Fanatic in the area underneath the stands.
Foul outside first, 1-1. Kruk's league-leading average up to 349 at this at-bat. He started the night at 346. Kurt Schilling, who walked after battling to lead off the inning, now at third and filthy after the head-first slide. Mariano Duncan at second and Dave Hollins at first. Bases loaded, 1 away. Fastball hit high in the air to left. Davis going back. On the track, drops the ball. Two runs are in. Just when you think it can't get any worse, it does.
Eric Davis, through the years, has been one of the best outfielders in baseball. He simply drops this ball. Hits off the edge of his glove. Infield defense costs you runners. Outfield defense costs you runs.
Here it is again. Boy, you have to wonder how plays like that happen. But having been out there, you can identify with it a little bit. It's not as easy as it looks, but that ball has got to be caught.
He got himself turned around a little bit and was aware of where the warning of where the wall was. But you're supposed to use the inside of the glove, not the outside.
90 errors on the year, 3 in the game, 2 in this inning that have contributed to 2 more runs for the Phillies. Darren Dalton, the hitter, and the fastball for a strike makes it 0-2. To 3, Philadelphia. Still only 1 out here in the 6th inning. Well, Jaime Navarro's pitching a no-hitter at Comiskey Park in the top of the 8th inning. The Brewers are still leading 1-0. So let's go to Chicago for a report on the no-hitter in progress. We'll be back here.
Navarro's pitch is up high, 2 balls and no strikes. Let's check the Miller High Life National League scoreboard. Phillies lead the Dodgers 5-3 in the 6th. Montreal a 2-0 lead over San Diego in the 8th. Cincinnati pounding St. Louis 7-1 in the 6th. Fouled away by Newsom, 2-1. New York 1, San Francisco 0 in the 7th inning. Chicago's ahead of Pittsburgh 2-1 in the 5th. And Atlanta leads Houston 3-0 there in the 4th inning. That's the update brought to you by Miller High Life. 2 balls and 1 strike to the White Sox right fielder Warren Newson. Jamie Navarro needs 6 more outs. The 2-1 pitch. A little low. Of course, there's not much margin for error in the game either, since the Brewers are leading only 1-0. Navarro has walked 1 and struck out 4. And his 3-1 pitch to Newson. Swung on and missed. Strike 2. He still has the good fastball.
Still throwing the ball hard, and the only thing he really has to fight here, Navarro, is the anxiety to try to wrap it up in a hurry. He's got to just make 1 pitch at a time. I know that's you hear that a lot, but 1 hitter at a time. But if that anxiety takes over, it makes you rush and makes you want to wrap things up before it's time.
And he just missed with the 3-2 pitch. It was close. But ball 4, and Newson walks to lead off the 8th inning. The second walk given up by Navarro tonight. Let's see how close that one was.
Here is the pitch from Navarro. A fastball, and awfully close. Ball caught well by Surhoff.
Steve Sachs is 0 for 2. Navarro looks at first. There goes Newson. Swung on and missed. B.J. throw to Listash. Too late.
Well, the White Sox do a little bit of running on their own. The Brewers lead the league, lead the majors in stolen bases, and the White Sox are second to the Brewers in the American League. So they do some running too. You see Surhoff coming out very slowly. Did not get the ball and come out and throw, and that took it away from him. Watch his footwork there. Did not get the ball in the air very quickly. The ball up a little bit, and by the time it gets down to the bag, Newson is in there.
0-1 to Sachs. Navarro having to pitch with a runner on second for the first time tonight. The pitch to Sachs. He's around to bunt and takes ball 1. 1-1. Now the White Sox thinking sacrifice. And they're also thinking we could get a run even without a hit right here if they were to get a couple of sacrifices. 1 ball and 1 strike to Steve Sachs. Jamie Navarro comes back 1-1, and it's bunted foul. 1-2.
Well, when you have good stuff like Navarro has tonight, it's not a cinch that even though you square around the bunt and try to get the ball down, there's no guarantee you're going to do it, because he is throwing the ball well. His fastball seems to be maintaining its velocity, and he is just continuing to go right at the White Sox hitters.
Jesse Orozco and Darren Holmes up in the bullpen. 1-2 to Steve Sachs. Navarro has 4 strikeouts tonight. And he backs off the mound. Sachs hitting .231. Navarro with his 1-2 pitch. Lined into left center field. There goes the no-hitter. There goes the lead, as coming in to score is Newsom. Sachs going for 3. The throw too late.
That fastball that he's been throwing, and he got one right over the heart of the plate. Sachs drills it to left center field. Going to wind up against that fence before Vonnie can catch up with it. There's Newsom scoring. And here's the relay. You saw Listash having trouble getting the ball out of his glove. Misses Seitzer at third when he relays it. There's a little hesitation. And a good thing Jamie Navarro was there to back up as he fielded the ball on the fly. And now Billy Castro.
Jamie Navarro had given up just 1 walk before that. Might have gotten squeezed in the Newsom call. Now he's fighting for a victory. It's 1-1. We'll get you back to your game and keep you posted on the Brewers after this.
Philadelphia. Steve Zabriskie and Larry Sorensen with you, where the Dodgers have made 3 errors in this inning. Joe Millette, the rookie shortstop, the 9th hitter to come to the plate, and 3 runs are in. Here in the 6th inning, it's an 8-3 Philadelphia lead. 3 unearned runs. Tim Cruz, the new pitcher for the Dodgers, as Tommy Lasorda just made a double switch, bringing Juan Samuel into the game at second base, replacing Lenny Harris. Samuel will bat 9th, and Tim Cruz will bat 7th. And Harris a spot in the batting order. Millette tonight 1 for 3 with an infield base hit, his first big league base hit. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The inning started with a walk to the pitcher Curt Schilling, who battled and battled and battled. After 1 out, Duncan reached on an error on Harris. Hollins was walked intentionally. Eric Davis dropped John Kruk's fly ball that allowed 2 runs to score. Joe Millette out on strikes, and the inning is finally over. And then on a routine ground ball, the first baseman Karros made a bad throw to the pitcher covering, and yet another run scored. 4 errors in the game for the Dodgers, who lead the major leagues in that department. You got that right, Gary. Well, Navarro goes from a no-hitter to a deficit, which is really losing it. Juan Samuel hitting for the first time takes a strike. Curt Schilling not only ran the bases, but he's been out of there, as that was a long inning with the Phillies batting around with the help of the 3 errors in the inning. Samuel with a shot. Schilling got a piece of it, and Morandini throws out Juan Samuel for out number 1.
You don't think Schilling cooled off too much in between innings there with the long inning there?
No. No chance to get tight tonight.
A nice deflection, and saves this ball from being a base hit up the middle. Do you get the feeling, looking at the dirt on Curt Schilling, that he's the kind of guy that loves that look?
I don't think he minds it one bit. No. Otherwise, he would not have pulled the head-first slide at third. So the top of the order, and Jose Offerman, who has singled, struck out, and walked, and he skies it deep to center field. Dykstra short of the track. for out number 2.
Steve Schilling was one of the guys that was saying, I haven't pitched in 8 days, and I'm not really sure how to handle it. He said, I threw in between starts and everything else. He said, but I've only had 15 starts in the big leagues. I was a starter most of my minor league career, but I'm really learning at this level. He said, one thing I found out is until you make the mistakes here, you don't really realize what a mistake it is. And he said, I'm still learning, still getting my feet wet that way, and it's the only way to do it.
It's a tough way to do it, but it's probably the best way to do it. Brett Butler takes a strike. Butler tonight 1 for 1, and it's another bunt base hit, and on either side of that, 2 sacrifices. So here's a guy who hasn't gotten the ball out of the infield, and yet he's having a good night.
Batting 1,000 tonight. Although we did dispute one of the sacrifices.
Yeah.
We felt that it was a bunt for a base hit. Of course, you talk to Bugsy, and he'll tell you it was a sack.
Oh, and all the way. His reputation preceded him a little there, I think. You're watching Friday Night Baseball here on ESPN. And a ground ball to second. Orandini to Kruk, and the inning is over. The Dodgers go in order quietly in the 7th. Philadelphia leading it 8-3. And the boys. Right here, it's all Phillies with the help of no Dodger defense. Tim Cruz, the 3rd pitcher of the night for the Dodgers, and Curt Schilling, who led off that eventful 6th inning, is leading off again. Dave Hansen into the game, and he is the new 3rd baseman for the Dodgers, replacing Mike Sharperson. Schilling up there for the 4th time, although he is 0 for 1 officially. Still battling, fouling off those tough pitches.
Still laughing about it, saying, how am I doing this? Throw me a fastball in, strike me out, let me go sit down.
I don't want to slide into 3rd again, thank you. There we go. There's a strike.
Thank you.
Wasn't inside, but we'll take it. Don't you know there's a little something going on in his own dugout right now, too? But you know what? I think he's going to enjoy this half inning a lot more than the previous half inning.
Well, you said what the starting pitcher wants to do is get 4 to 5 at-bats every night.
He's getting them, and he's leading big. Glenn Dykstra tonight is 1 for 3, plus a walk. He has stolen a base and scored a run. Batting with 1 out, nobody on in the 7th inning. Philadelphia leading 8-3. Curt Schilling telling them how he did it.
He's saying, how can Joe West call that pitch a strike on me?
Good play by Offerman. Not in time. Dykstra beats it out for a 1-out infield single, his 2nd hit of the night.
Well, this has been quite a bit of the story on Jose Offerman. Outstanding at the excellent plays, not as good on the routine plays, and that is almost an amazing play. Lenny Dykstra has good speed. He was on the outside part of the line that defines the infield on the right field side of second base.
Duncan fouls it hard into the seats. I hope they were watching. Strike 1. Somebody may have been injured. The young man there. He must be all right because they're laughing about it. Boy, I hope so. If you're not watching and those foul balls come in there in a hurry, it could be in big trouble. Philly fanatic is over to make sure he's all right.
He's the best.
David Raymond. That'll be the best mascot in the game. Duncan takes just outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He and Don Zimmer used to have the greatest routines with each other. durable, and the fanatic.
Unbelievable. Popeye, what a great baseball man he is.
Understand he's ready to retire when the season ends.
He has said that he's going to stay in Florida year-round and fish and play golf. Enjoy life.
Baseball will miss him.
Don Zimmer has always been proud of the fact that throughout his entire life, I don't know that he has ever earned a dollar outside of baseball. His whole career has been in the game. His entire life's income has come from the game. Duncan chasing a pitch way out of the strike zone. Out number 2 and the third strikeout for Tim Cruz.
And Duncan hurt his wrist a little bit on this swing also. Watch him after he swings at this ball. Watch his left wrist. Goes behind the back.
Tried to hold up.
Just what the Phillies need.
Yeah, another injury. Well, Dave Hollins has been in a groove tonight. He lined out to third in the first inning, and then he drove in a run with a single to right in the third, single to right again, and scored in the fifth, intentionally walked and scored in the sixth inning. Officially, he's 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs scored. Batting here with 2 out, and Dykstra at first. Strike 1.
You mentioned Zimmer earning every dollar he made on the baseball field. Well, Tommy Lasorda can say almost the same thing, except he's earned a few dollars off. But 43 years he's been with the Dodger organization. This is his 16th year as manager of the Major League team.
Unbelievable. Managed for many years in the minor leagues. A lot of guys came through that system that Tommy has managed either in the minors or the big leagues. Tommy may have the record. This would be an interesting thing to look up. One of our crack ESPN research staffers ought to jump on this one. Tommy may have managed more baseball broadcasters than anybody else in the history of the game. Think about that one.
Okay.
If he hasn't, he's got to be close. Between the minor leagues and the major leagues, current major league broadcaster, he may have been their manager at one time or another.
Don Drysdale just down the hall tonight.
There's all kinds of guys. Jay Johnstone. Tom Paciorek.
Rick Monday.
Rick Monday.
One of the few teams I missed.
Otherwise, we'd add you to the list. I'm trying to think of more now. I think we're Tommy Hutton.
Gotta be.
Relatively speaking, you're quite a... Well, maybe next week we'll have that answer. 2-1 to Hollins.
Tommy threw about a half hour of batting practice this afternoon when we came in. Non-stop commentary to go with it.
That's right. He's the only batting practice pitcher that talks to the hitters the entire time he's throwing.
In Spanish, in English.
Yeah, or he talks to people around the batting cage. Doesn't have to be the hitter he's talking to.
Challenging Larry Boa to get a bat, climb in there against him. Boa says, I'll take it right up the middle. He says, I got a glove and a screen. I've never been hit.
He sort of was, in fact, a pitcher in the minor leagues many years ago, a left-handed thrower.
I hope his curveball was better than the one he was throwing today.
Hollins with a deep drive to center. Butler back, out of here. For Dave Hollins, his third hit of the night, 3 RBIs, and the 2-run home run makes it 10-3 Philadelphia.
A night the Dodgers wish they could take over. A fastball that doesn't get away from him. Cruz knew it. He didn't have to watch it.
Well struck and well over the 408 sign in center. Here's John Kruk. Breaking ball high, ball one. Kruk tonight, 2 hits in 4 at-bats, plus he has reached on an error and lined out. 2 RBIs and 2 runs scored. His league-leading average at 349 as he fouls it off, and it's 2-1. The intense one, Dave Holland, his 12th home run of the year, and tonight his 3 RBIs give him 45. Kruk with a drive to left field. Eric Davis there, and he catches it. Mock cheers for Davis. The Dodgers are getting beat up and helping their own cause.
Budweiser, the king of beers, takes us back to Comiskey. We showed you Jamie Navarro losing his shutout and the lead. Then in the top of the 9th off Alex Fernandez, he hangs a curveball, and Kevin Seitzer homers off him for the 2nd time in the game. They've gone to the bottom of the 9th, now tied at 2. It was 1-1 in the Metrodome. Carl Willis facing Wade Boggs, who slices a single up the middle to score Zupsik. The Red Sox have taken a 2-1 lead for Frank Viola as we take you back to the vet.
Thank you, Gary. Right here, it has not been pretty. 5 errors in the game, 4 of them by the Dodgers. And those 4 leading to big runs as Dave Hansen bats for the first time, hitting .233 and grounds out on the first pitch to Morandini.
Brett Butler had a pretty good line before the game. We were talking about their defense, and he said, I don't care if you've got Gibson, Koufax, and Drysdale in your rotation. If you give up 4 or 5 outs an inning often enough, you're going to get beat.
And that is the truth. Curt Schilling has gone all the way for the Phillies. Darryl Strawberry, the hitter. And Strawberry hitting the first pitch. I don't think he can throw him out. Nope, Morandini with a fine play, and again playing Strawberry in short right center field. But Darryl aboard with his 2nd hit of the night.
You got to love the effort by the 2 middle infielders for the Phillies tonight, Morandini and Millette. This ball seemed like it was hit sharply, might have been a little off the end of the bat. Morandini gets over, extends. Look how far he is on that outfield grass, outfield turf on the other side of the line. Still makes a decent throw.
Well, Darrell's going to come out of the game for a pinch runner. Tom Goodwin will go in to run for Strawberry. And Darrell will get the rest of the night off. And the hitter will be Eric Davis.
Strawberry is still very concerned about his back. He said he undergoes about a half hour of therapy and stretching and various other exercises before the game every day. And he said, we're going to see how it turns out, see if I hurt it anymore, and possibly at the end of the year they might have to go in and see exactly how bad it is and whether there's anything they can do to it.
Yeah, I was talking to Darrell, and he said, I'd like to avoid surgery at all costs. So he has made up his mind he's going to do the therapy and everything else they ask him to do in an effort to not have to go under the knife. Eric Davis tonight, 0 for 2 plus a walk. Strike 1. Or strike 2, rather. 1 ball, 2 strikes. As Davis had fouled off the first pitch. Two and 2. Davis batting with 1 out, and pinch runner Tom Goodwin at first base, not being held on by John Kruk as the Phillies lead 10-3. Davis down on strikes. Schilling's 3rd strikeout, 2nd out of the inning.
Excellent slider by Curt Schilling, especially this late in the game. Not a lot of big movement on it, just a sharp, quick slider breaking late at the plate.
Jay Howell in the bullpen for the Dodgers. as Eric Karros fouls off the first pitch for strike one. Karros tonight 1 for 3. Had a 2-run single back in the first inning. Since then, he's grounded into a double play and grounded to short. 1-1.
You have to give everybody a little bit of work to try to keep them sharp.
This is not ordinarily the kind of game in which you would see Jay Howell in the bullpen, but the way the Dodgers have gone, there haven't been that many opportunities for the normal closer role, and so Tommy may be getting Howell some work in the night. Swing and a miss by Karros. 2-2. Todd Benzinger is on deck. He would be the pinch hitter for the pitcher Tim Cruz if Karros keeps the inning going. 2-2 with 2 out. Fouled off. You know, when things happen like this season the Dodgers are having with their horrible defense and the pressure it puts on not only the offense but certainly the pitching staff. There's a drive to right field. Chamberlain will have to play it on a hop. Runners at first and second with 2 out, and Benzinger will in fact bat. It's almost a snowball type thing, Larry, where you can't stop it. It seems to grow and get worse, and one thing leads to another, and it's almost as if the frustration gets to the point where, you know, not only can you not turn it around, you can't even stop it from getting worse.
And it starts affecting every area of your team. The bullpen, for example, has 18 saves this year, and they've blown 8 saves, which is not a good percentage for a bullpen. The starting pitcher, which through the years has traditionally been the strongest part of the Dodgers game, still is doing a pretty good job. They're second in the league. The pitching staff is second in the league.
Benzinger, as you saw, hitting .241, batting with runners at first and second and 2 out. Wally Ritchie in the bullpen for the Phillies, along with Mike Hartley. Swing and a miss, and Schilling still seems to have something going, even though he ran around the bases, had a head first slide, and been hot and humid, and he's thrown a lot of pitches, but he has a 10-3 lead here in the 8th inning.
It always makes you a little bit stronger.
A roller to first as Benzinger got jammed. John Kruk will take it, and the inning is over. 2 hits and 2 left here in the 8th. The Phillies go to the bottom of the 8th with a comfortable 7-run lead. Jay Howell will in fact get some work for the Dodgers here in the 8th inning. Why not? Dodgers are down 10-3, and Howell has worked only 21 innings this year. This is his 19th appearance. His record 0-0 with a 1.29 sparkling ERA. So by and large, he's pitched well when he's been in there. He does not have a save. That's probably the most amazing statistic.
He was on the disabled list until May 17th. His last save, in fact, was on October the 6th last year, the last game of the 1991 season against San Francisco.
Curt Schilling, the cruising leader at this point, and with the bullpen active, we'll see if in fact he pitches the 9th. I would think, unless there's something physically wrong or he runs out of gas, they give him a shot at a complete game.
Although it is a very good opportunity to get one member of your staff that hasn't pitched in 6 or 7 days a chance to get an inning just to get sharpened up in case you need him in the next day or two.
This is true. And you have to manage for the whole season, not just one game. Well, Darren Daulton will lead it off in the 8th for Philadelphia. Daulton is 1 for 2. He has singled and struck out. He has also walked twice, once intentionally. A strike at the knee.
Although the way the game has changed today, that complete game is almost worth as much as a shutout was years ago. And I'm not saying this with the bitterness of an old-timer. I'm just saying that the game has changed.
You're not bitter, and you're not an old-timer. You're a former pitcher.
but it used to be the premium was on going the distance, and you took pride in that. And these days, it's simply a different game, and you need to keep the entire bullpen sharp.
Dalton had a good cut and fouled it back, and it's 0-2.
And as a starter, you realize that because you might want that reliever to come in and bail you out in your next start.
Yeah, that's true. The win is the thing. Breaking ball hit a ton down the right field line by Dalton. Goodbye. With his 14th home run and 60th RBI of the year, and it is 11-3 Philadelphia.
It's what you call one of those 1.3 jobs, 1.3 seconds to get out of the ballpark. Only question was whether or not it was going to hook foul. Stayed fair by 15 feet or so.
Wes Chamberlain, the hitter. Strike. Well, you know, talking about how Jay Howell hasn't pitched that much, and sometimes when you haven't, you're not sharp, you tend to hang a pitch now and then. Darren Dalton just jumped all over it. 1-1. Dalton, who is strong, muscled that one out of here in a hurry. Chamberlain tonight is 1 for 3 with an RBI single, and he too has walked intentionally, and Howell spins him around.
Certainly will keep you from digging in on the next one. You saw Socha setting up outside. Looked like it was just an off-speed pitch that got away from him in.
Yeah, you don't buzz somebody with a breaking ball.
No.
Chamberlain comes right back and singles to center. Butler up with it. And Wes has his second hit of the night. The Phillies aren't finished yet.
Well, this one hung inside the strike zone as opposed to the last one that hung outside the strike zone.
Two hitters. 2 hits and a run in here in the 8th, and Mickey Morandini, the batter, he is 1 for 4. He had an RBI base hit in the 2nd inning. He also has been thrown out trying to bunt his way on, struck out looking, and then reached on an error in the 6th inning. But then who didn't reach on an error in the 6th inning? The Dodgers made 3 in that inning and have made 4 in the game, and all have led to runs. Fastball knocked down by Offerman, who made a fine recovery to get the force play to Samuel at second and retire Chamberlain 1 away. Another rocket. A reminder that this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of Major League Baseball, and it may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without what?
The express written consent of Major League Baseball.
Thank you, sir. Joe Millette, the shot to third, and Samuel double clutching a little bit as Morandini was right on top of him. But they record the second out of the inning on the force play at second.
Juan Samuel showing great athletic ability coming down with that ball. On the double clutch, he gets taken out pretty well by Morandini, holds it up and then lets it go. Just a little bit late. Samuel, the target of more of the trade rumors surrounding the Dodgers.
Yeah, I was talking to Sammy before the game, and he, of course, played a number of years here in Philadelphia. And I said, are you going to be leaving town with the ball club or staying here? He said, I don't know. He says, I still have a home here.
When they broke for the All-Star break, he said, "Well, I see you guys in Japan." And Jim Gott said, "Do you have your passport current?"
He told me today, he says, "I got to go get a visa." He says, "I don't know what's going to happen."
91 errors for the Dodgers now.
Well, here's that great hitter, Kurt Schilling. This is his 5th plate appearance of the night. Well, he has struck out his last 2 times up, and the inning is over. But a run in, another one on Darren Dalton's leadoff home run. And had some extra outs and used them effectively to lead 11-3 as we go to the 9th inning. Mike Scioscia, the hitter. Kurt Schilling trying to go all the way. Scioscia with a shot to first. John Kruk knocks it down and throws him out. And John will not exactly bounce up, but he did pounce on that ball.
Jim Fregosi holding his breath in the dugout, hoping that Kruk didn't jam his thumb or his hand. This ball was very well hit. A nice play to catch it, makes a decent throw. Schilling displays some fine footwork at first base. Told you pitchers are good athletes.
Lucky he didn't jam his ankle.
The way the Phillies year has gone.
Juan Samuel, batting for the 2nd time, takes a breaking ball for a strike. Sammy leading off the 7th inning, grounded to 2nd. A reminder, Paul Olden and John Stearns are standing by in Oakland, and we'll be going to Game 2 of our Friday night doubleheader out there in the Oakland Alameda Coliseum, all the way to the left coast as soon as we're through here. Coast to coast baseball. I love it. Samuel does not go after the high pitch again. 1-2.
He will chase that low pitch, though, when you get ahead of him in the count. Throw a slider in the dirt, and he's been known to chase him.
Swung one out of the strike zone. Dalton pounces on it and throws him out. 2 away in the 9th. Good play by Darren. He's worked a little tonight, too. That gear on. He and Scioscia blocking balls in the dirt. Handling a lot of pitches. So 2 out and nobody on for Jose Offerman. 1 for 3 plus a walk. He scored a run after singling in the 1st inning. Ball 1. And over the inside corner for a strike. 1-1. And Schilling 1 strike away from a complete game. It would be his 3rd complete game of the year. And the hometown fans, 50,000 on hand tonight, are behind him. And time called just as he was about ready to deliver. Stay tuned for Detroit at Oakland. Got him with a fastball. Dodger errors and Philadelphia Philly bats, leading to a big 11-3 win.
You get enough chances at it, and you're going to score some runs. The Phillies broke out a little bit of their power. Great job by Kurt Schilling, and I really think his at-bat had a lot to do with the way the game turned around.
That started that big 6th inning that broke the game open. Thanks for being with us. Steve Zabriskie for Larry Sorensen and our entire crew, sending you now out to Oakland and Paul Olden and John Stearns.